Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, respected research scholars, and their students and participants. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you to the international webinar on synergistic relationship between the intellectual property and energy innovation. We have the honor to host the unique forum where the legal scholarship and scientific innovation converge to address the grand challenges of our time, especially in the realm of sustainable development, energy equity, and environmental governance. The relationship between intellectual property and energy innovation is not merely an academic, it is a vital. In today's rapidly changing world, IP acts as the backbone of the innovation. It provides a strategic framework to protect and promote creation of the transformative technologies from the solar power solutions to advanced irrigation system. As we pursue with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, IP become the cornerstone of our global push for the cleaning energy, circular economies, and the climate resilient agricultural system, and the same practices. Throughout this platform, what we call today as a webinar, we aim to delve into the diverse and dynamic themes, such as how can IP accelerate energy efficiency and the implication of national and international framework for the IP and the importance of equitable access to energy technology in the low-income regions and the collaborative potential of public and private partnership to catalyze the global innovations. This webinar is not just a dialogue, it is a movement to inspire collaborations, to elevate research, and to catalyze ideas that can be translated into action. We are deeply privileged to be joined today by the distinguished panel of speakers who are not only expert in their domains, but they are also IP visionaries and committed to the sustainable progress. Allow me to honor of introducing them. Our esteemed chief guest, Professor Dr. Shaiwal Satyarthi, Professor of Law at Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Professor Satyarthi is expert and the long-standing contribution of him stands around the intellectual property, and his insight today is valuable for our academic discourse. Following him, Following him, we are delighted to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu, NS, Professor of Law and Visionary of IP and Technology Law at West Bengal National Law University, Juridical Science, Kolkata, India. Sir will guide us through the critical linkage between the technology and IPR. Particularly, Sir may focus on the patent laws. Then it is followed by then it will be followed by our distinguished speaker and guest of honor, Rujita Shuni, Professor of Law at National Law University of Odisha. Dr. Shuni will bring insight to our discussion that how IP can drive the technology and sustainable development goal. At this juncture, we are followed by another segment and speaker, Professor M.S. Benjamin, who will welcome our esteemed dignitaries and followed by the paper presenters. On behalf of the Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed dignitaries and the participants they have their presence with us. Sir, the floor is yours, Professor M.S. Benjamin, to welcome the dignitaries.
Good afternoon to one and all. Distinguished speakers, Professor Sreenivasulu NS, Professor Shaiwal Satyarthi, Dr. Rujita Shuni, esteemed participants, fellow scholars, ladies and gentlemen. As a chairman, the Department of Law and a dean, faculty of law, it is my privilege to welcome you all to this webinar on synergic intersection of intellectual property rights and energy innovation, organized by the Department of Law, University of Mysore, Mysore, Karnataka. The word energy derives from the Greek word energia, which means to work or being at work. Later, it was developed by Greek philosopher Aristotle, who defined it as a condition that describes the capacity to work. In English term, energy means quantitative property that is transferred to an object to perform work or heat the object. In the 19th century, William Thomson, Irish scientist, and William John Rankine, a Scottish mathematician, used the word energy to denote every kind of a force across all branches of science. The word energy has different meanings as force, might, power, strength. Generally, the word energy is defined as power derived from the physical or chemical, especially to provide light and heat to operate machines. There are different sources of energy, like nuclear energy, fossil energy, such as coal, oil, and natural gas. These are called as non-renewable energy. Wind energy, solar, bio, light, hydropower, electrical energies are called as renewable energy. Energy innovation means the advancement of a new technology and a process that improves efficiency and sustainability of energy system. Investment in energy innovation creates job opportunities, drives economic growth, makes our industry more competitive, energy consumption more efficient, decreases energy cost, reduces our reliance on fossil fuels, ultimately improves health and well-being of the people. The present world is undergoing an energy transition. It is shifting or moving away from non-renewable energy to renewable energy. However, the transition to renewable energy is not suffice. We need to focus on energy innovation. The global landscape of energy innovation has changed. Earlier, US, Japan, Europe led energy technology innovation. In 2021, China was the largest single country for energy patenting, overtaking Japan, United States, and Europe. In 2022, more than 90% of China energy patenting was on low emission technology areas. China is number one in energy innovation. Then it is followed by Europe, Japan, and America. America is lagging behind China in global energy innovation. With this background, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Professor Shaiwal Satyarthi, Professor, Faculty of Law, University of the Delhi's, Professor Sreenivasulu NS, Professor of Law, West Bengal National University of Judicial Sciences, Kolkata, West Bengal, Dr. Rujita T.R. Senai, Professor of Law, National Law University, Odisha. And I also extend warm welcome to all participants and members of organizing the committee. I thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our chief guest. Before we start with sir, I would like to request my colleague Srishti Nalwar to introduce sir. Srishti, please proceed.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my proud privilege to honor and introduce the distinguished chief guest of today's event, Professor Dr. Shaiwal Satyarthi, Professor at Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Professor Satyarthi is an eminent academician with an impressive academic background. Sir holds a PhD, LLM, and LLB from prestigious Banaras Hindu University and a bachelor's degree in commerce from the University of Delhi. With a career rooted deeply in legal scholarship, Professor Satyarthi has made remarkable contributions to the field of intellectual property law, TRIPS, WTO, traditional knowledge, social justice, and family law. Before his current tenure at University of Delhi, Sir served as an assistant professor of senior scale at Chanakya National Law University, Patna, where he was highly regarded for his academic rigor and dedication. Professor Satyarthi has participated as a resource person in numerous national and international seminars, conferences, and workshops. Sir's scholarly contributions include an array of well-received books and research papers published in reputed journals. His book titled TRIPS Agreement and Intellectual Property Rights Regime in India is considered a valuable resource in the field of IPR. Sir is also actively involved beyond academic, having served as a visiting faculty at Bihar Judicial Academy and as a member of various committees under the Bar Council of India. We are truly honored to have such a respected and accomplished personality among us today. On behalf of Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore, I welcome a heartfelt gratitude to Professor Dr. Shaiwal Satyarthi. Sir, we are indeed fortunate to have you here virtually, and we look forward to your invaluable insights. Sir, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for all your kind words. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Good afternoon to one and all present in this international webinar on intersection of intellectual property and energy innovation. So first and foremost, I wish to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizing committee for inviting me as chief guest in this international webinar. And I also want to acknowledge the role of Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu. So it's his persuasion and motivation I decided to participate in this international webinar. Thank you, Professor Sreenivasulu, for giving me this opportunity. So the topic of this international webinar finds a great relevance in this contemporary world. So before I discuss something about this topic, I would like to share my view with regard to intellectual property rights, how I see intellectual property right. Because large number of people, they think that this intellectual property right is to confer some exclusive right, and ultimately it leads to a kind of monopoly, and definitely it is to safeguard the interest of individual primarily. But how I see intellectual property right, I consider intellectual property right for the betterment of the society as a whole, because ultimately the society would be benefited. Whatever invention takes place, whatever creativity takes place, the creativity and innovation ultimately contributes to the betterment of society as a whole. So whenever we are to make analysis of intellectual property right, we must take into consideration the broader, larger interest of society. We have made every law in the field of IP for betterment of society, the nation. More and more innovation, more and more good to the nation or society. Whatever IP rights we have, so definitely they move around these two things, creativity and innovation. When we talk about creativity, it refers to copyright. When we talk about innovation, it refers to other intellectual property rights. In this context, this webinar at the very confluence of this IP law and energy technologies definitely addresses many of the most pressing challenges of our time. Because in today's time, we are talking about green energy, we are talking about noble energy solutions, I mean to say. Whether it is renewable energy, whether it's about the lithium-based battery system and innovation with regard to that, whether it's about improvements in our grid systems. So everywhere we see the role of technology. Even by this way, somehow we are going to protect the environment as well. So technology plays very pivotal role, very important role, even in protection of the environment. And ultimately that would benefit the society as a whole. So whenever a technology is innovated and we are to protect that technology, so it seems that we are protecting individuals' right. But ultimately we are protecting the society's interest, the society's concerns, the nation's interest. So that's the larger objective. And that's why there is a demand of a robust framework for protecting and sharing innovation. So this intellectual property not only incentivizes the research and development, but it also shapes the pathways through which transformating whatever transformative technologies are there, whether they are reaching to the society at required scale or not. So these things are definitely taken care of under intellectual property ground. Energy and IP. So first and foremost thing is what? Striking a balance. Because even under intellectual property right, being a student of law, we learned that it's all about making a balance. Making a balance between two conflicting interests, the private interest and the public interest. They must be protected simultaneously together. We cannot compromise with society's interest. We cannot compromise with individuals' interest. So that's why we talk about making a balance. So how can we strike this balance between safeguarding the inventor's interest and further enabling the broad and equitable access to life-changing energy innovations? And we all are witnessing nowadays how our lives are impacted by certain innovations, the great innovations. Innovation always having two facets. Two sides are there of any innovation. One side is definitely something to some destruction is there. say for example, where we talk about, even you take example of this atomic energy, two sides are there. Sometimes we consider this atomic energy to destroy something as a form of destruction. But at the same time, this atomic energy helps people, the society, by providing energy in a positive sense. So that's why we need to make a balance between two conflicting interests. How can we safeguard the interest of inventors? Because somehow it is to incentivize. We are to incentivize. Then only that inventor would invent again and again. The moment the inventor realizes that my right is not going to be protected, then he would become reluctant. And when he would become reluctant, it would be a loss to the society, because we will be deprived of getting more inventions from that inventor. And definitely that inventor having a good brain. And that's why he invented this valuable invention. Next is what? That here we need to talk about certain collaborations, because in the field of IP, definitely primarily we confer the exclusive right. The individual interest is protected primarily. Ultimately, I have already told you the society's interest. But in many circumstances, on the basis of certain collaborations, so definitely we can see the very bright future of this sector, the energy sector. Because this sector is in great need of advanced technology and innovation. On the basis of advanced technology and innovation, definitely we are to achieve the goal that we have set for having a clean, green environment. So for having clean, green environment, definitely we are relying heavily on the technological advancement, scientific advancement, and definitely this can be done with the help of innovations. And the moment the innovation, the first and primary concern that emerges is intellectual property right. So there are certain forms of collaboration, even in the field of IP or involving IP, we can achieve that goal of advancing the sustainable energy future that was well highlighted by Professor Benjamin as well. So here there are certain forms like open licensing, like patent pools, like public-private partnership. So they actually hold the greatest promise for advancing this sustainable energy future. So with the help of these forms, in the things, many things. And whenever we talk about this collaboration, so here I would like to say that many things will be discussed even in this webinar, that what strategies should be there, and how IP and energy sector, they are supplement to each other, and they can do good to each other. So overall, it's about development of a particular ecosystem and towards the greater innovation, and to analyze the impact of certain innovations in this area. And definitely, I'm quite hopeful that the speakers in this seminar, they would be highlighting more on this subject, this issue. Then I would like to say that where we talk about this intellectual property right, how this intellectual property right matters in the field of energy sector. So two things are there. Slightly I have referred one, that is the incentive. So here I would like to say
Professor Satyarthi, we are not able to hear you, sir.
am
Yes.
I audible?
Yes, now you're audible. The
So
Zoom control is from somewhere else. That's why it happens.
okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know from which point I was not audible.
Just your previous speech, just you were talking just 3 seconds back.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it got. I see it got muted. So
Yes, we'll
should I continue?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So I was talking about that quid pro quo. So on the basis of quid pro quo, something for something. So this contribution in the form of innovation coming from the inventors, and ultimately the society would be benefited, and the exclusive right and the protection coming from the society, the nation. And that's why we have legal framework, and under that legal framework, this individual right is also going to be protected. In the field of energy sector and IP, the next important aspect that I want to highlight is definitely the issue of technology transfer and collaboration. So many times on the basis of technology transfer and collaboration, many times mutual collaboration. That's why I shared the example of patent pools. So many a times one or more contributors, they come together and they want to do something, they want to create something, they want to innovate something, and even sometimes they want to give a package license to some people or group or anyone. On that basis also we can see the development in the field of energy sector. So all the issues of licensing and patent pools, they ultimately facilitator, they ultimately facilitate the knowledge sharing. Otherwise, we all know that in many circumstances, we become reluctant. We do not want to share the knowledge. And when we do not want to share the knowledge, that would be a loss to the society. And that is why here I can give you example that in many circumstances, people consider copyright as a kind of hurdle in the process of dissemination of knowledge, because they are of the view that this copyright gives some kind of exclusiveness to someone, and it is a hurdle in the field of dissemination of knowledge. So here I am just giving this example. So overall, it's about sharing of the knowledge and how this knowledge can be shared. Definitely, in many circumstances, IP, the exclusive right, acts as as a hurdle, and that's why licensing and patent pools, they facilitate this knowledge sharing. There are so many examples in which, on the basis of these patent pools, we have seen many more advancements even in the field of energy. The next concern is what? The next concern is definitely here our goal is to have the clean energy. And in this endeavor, so there are many entrants, the innovators, good brains, and they face certain problems at international level. They face certain problems with regard to infringement of their rights. So how can we assure those contributors that yes, you come, you join, you contribute, you innovate, and rest assured, your interest will be protected. The moment we give this kind of assurance, I'm sure that large number of people would come forward with their good brains and they would innovate and contribute towards this great endeavor. Because every government we have seen in recent times, every government, they have started focusing on energy sector. The much more transformation we are seeing in the field of energy sector. The great example, we all know that our Prime Minister, he took the initiative and this worldwide solar energy initiatives. India and France, they took the lead and we are focusing much on solar energy because this is the most efficient green energy, solar energy. That's why the task here is to mitigate the IP risk. When we mitigate the IP risk, we would see more and more contributions. And for this, there is requirement of some kind of insurance, there is requirement of some kind of diligence. So many more things are there. Thereafter, when we talk about the balancing of access and exclusivity, so here also certain issues are there. Like I have already told you this exclusivity and the patent exclusivity. So definitely it sparks the investment. But at the same moment, clashing with equitable access in some developing countries. And for that purpose, earlier I highlighted about the technology transfer. So we have certain provisions and mechanisms even under our TRIPS agreement, and that facilitates some thing about the technology transfer. So there must be some kind of strategic solution. There must be some kind of taking care of the concerns, and then only we can have this balancing. Then only we can have this access. So equitable access, and we can achieve that particular goal that we have set with regard to green energy, clean energy. One more issue is there, and all stakeholders should definitely think over this, and they should take some initiatives to resolve the problems pertaining to this, and that's about the commercialization. So whenever we talk about this commercialization and all that, so here also some more understanding and collaboration is required to be developed, and then only we can have something good in the field of IP. So with the help of technology transfer, with the help of solving problems in the field of patent, the licensing issues, simplification of the licensing process, balancing between the trade secrecy and openness. So many issues are there, and once we resolve all these issues, so definitely we will be able to bring many things into this particular sector, and with the help of law, with the help of intellectual property law, definitely we can also contribute in making the great future of the world, the great future of the people, the great future of the society, because we all know that this energy, green energy, clean energy, is great need of time. Otherwise, the whole mankind will be endangered. So with this note, I hope that this webinar would be very useful and fruitful to all those who are in the field of law to have or to develop a better understanding with regard to this intersection between IP and intellectual property right and energy sector. So with this note, I am concluding my deliberation. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your iconic talk and your precious time that you have given for us and joining us. It is an absolute pleasure now to welcome and invite Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu in S to highlight with his keynote address to the audience. Before we proceed with sir, I would like to request Srishti Nalwar to introduce sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the program organized by University of Mysore. So, Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu NS is a professor of law at NUJS, Kolkata, and a distinguished member of International Council of Jurists, ICJ. Sir is a scientific member of the Canadian Institution for International Law and is associated with World Commission for Human Rights, London. Previously, Sir was a faculty member at NLSIU Bangalore and the University of Mysore before joining NUJS as Associate Professor in 2007 and was promoted to Professor of Law in the year 2013. Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu is a prolific author and has over 110 research publications, including 7 books, 3 monographs, 9 edited volumes, 15 book chapters, and 75 research papers. Sir's work has been published by renowned publishers such as Oxford, Penguin, Springlers, Buttersworth, Manupatram, etc. Sir has worked with Government of India's Ministers of Justice, Commerce, HRD and Transport, as well as the UGC on policy matters. Sir has also provided legal and policy guidance to the Government of Karnataka, West Bengal, Assam, and Goa, with a focus on legal education, law, and policy issues. Sir, we are grateful to have you here with us virtually, and we are eager to hear you, sir. Sir, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. Energy, innovation, and intellectual property rights, the main theme of today's program. We all need energy. Food and water is energy for us, not only for human being. Every living being wants or needs the same, through which we generate energy. Vehicles need fuel, that is vehicles energy. Even planets also need energy to orbit around themselves and go around sun, and they draw and derive energy from the sun itself. So for our operations, activities, we all need energy in one way or the other, and which drives us in whatever way we proceed with our life and activities. In this background, energy innovation and intellectual property law sphere, which is providing a platform for promoting novel methods and processes with reference to extraction, derivation, creation, management, and use of energy. In fact, mankind conceived energy, as a matter of fact, for furthering his or her comforts and conveniences. The first form of energy was derived from water. We call it as hydro power or hydraulic energy and things like that. People from people having a physics background will be having a better idea about it. The first type of energy that mankind created is out of water, right? And even today, substantial amount of energy derivation happens through water and different rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, all living rivers are lifetime rivers. they are actually providing a platform for energy creation through hydraulic power stations. So first type of energy that we conceived was through using recycling water. And now in the same water-based energy sector, we are looking for new methods, new processes by virtue of which you can further quicken the process of electricity creation by using water or water power. We have, if you take any water projects that we have got in this country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, in most of the rivers, big rivers, or the rivers which flow the entire year, where there you get to see this hydraulic projects, energy, electricity creativity projects, are being installed, and they're doing remarkable job as far as creating energy for 140 odd crores people of this country is concerned. So in this water-based energy sector, we are trying to come out with new methods, new processes by which, with the consumption of less water, the consumption of less water, you are able to create energy. And now, uh, since the private parties are also allowed to have their stake in this energy sector, including this water-based energy sector, this public-private partnership is perhaps giving better results than that of those times where government of India was only a player, and the government itself used to pour investment and deploy people and create energy by using water. Now this when you promoted private participation, now private parties are coming out with different methods, new methods, by virtue of which they are not only consuming less water, and it is becoming cost effective now. Earlier, for water-based energy creation, you need to literally create a valley beneath the river, right? You have to go such deep down and create such a voyage for water to fall from highest ramps and get down almost to a half a kilometer to 2 kilometers, and from that force by which the water falls, and in the bottom, you create energy over there. And now we are coming out with new methods wherein you need not invest that much of money, with little or small waterfalls also, natural or artificial, you are able to create energy. With the less pouring of water also, you are able to create energy. This is a new innovation, right. The private participation is giving results like this, where you are giving better results, less consumption of water, no wastage of water, because once you are using water for electricity creation and all, it may cause less water supply for the farmers, industry, and stuff like that. So now we are looking for methods by virtue of which you are saving the water, consuming less water, and there is a less investment based upon which you are able to create cost-effective hydraulic-based energy by using natural water. So this is one segment of energy area where water is used, natural water is used for the creation of electricity or energy, for which IP sector is providing a platform to promote new methods by virtue of which you are going for cost-effective water-based energy creation. Then the second one is thermal. When mankind started to realize that the earth is made up of different types of minerals, different types of mines, right? Slowly and gradually mankind derived that, identified that beneath the earth there are different geology based subject by virtue of which also you are able to create energy. I'm talking about coal or thermal. The coal and thermal mines are there in India, ranging from Bhadrachalam in Telangana till Jharkhand. Of course, from the western part of Odisha till eastern part of Madhya Pradesh. That entire Eastern Ghats section, whatever Eastern Ghats range, whatever we call it as, right? There you have very good amount of coal mines or thermal power based industries are out there. Your Jindals, your these big companies It could be iron ore company or pure coal-based companies. They're investing a lot of money over there, and by virtue of that, they're extracting coal, and by burning the coal, energy is getting created. Of course, Singareni coal mines of Telangana is very famous for this, and it is the biggest coal mine in the country, Singareni range of coal mines, which is around Bhadrachalam, Karimnagar area of Telangana, which is bordering Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. But here there is a problem because you are burning the coal, it is creating environment pollution. And since you are digging the Mother Earth and you are creating unnatural valleys, sometimes during floods and all, the water may go inside and it may create imbalance of the earth, and it may result in sometimes untimely rain or untimely what you call not only rain, untimely weather change, and sometimes floods also. So the biggest problem with thermal based or coal based energy creation is environment pollution. Now we need to look for such type of methods and processes by which you burn less coal and create more energy, or you create thermal based coal based energy where there is no or minimum damage to the environment. Such type of new processes, new methods, if energy coal sector or energy sector based upon coal is coming out with, IP law is ever ready to promote the same. And recently there was an announcement from government of India 1 month back itself that India became almost number 2 in the world as far as thermal based coal based energy creation is concerned. It may be a good news for people, but for me it's a bad news. You know why? Because you are burning a lot of coal. That's what you are saying literally, that you have become second biggest coal based economy in the world out of 200 odd countries. That means you are digging the Mother Earth and extracting more and more coal and burning more and more coal. So you are creating more and more earthly imbalance and creating more environment pollution. And remember, this is not green energy. You are creating pollution based energy. So I personally believe that thermal based coal based energy should be minimized, or if possible it should be stopped, if not today, in the coming years. And that is creating a lot of carbon burning. It is creating a lot of environment based imbalance and climate change and things like that. And especially in the contemporary technological era that we are in, we need not always depend upon thermal based or coal based energy. Like I mentioned, water based energy creation is there, and there are another 5 different types of energy creating platforms are there, which can be better used, and we restrict, minimize, and in future, maybe down the line, 1, 2, or 3 decades, we should stop this thermal based coal based energy if possible. So this is a second energy sector that the mankind has visualized and extracted the same, and power is being generated. Then the third one, air-based energy. Air-based energy is in the line. I'm going in a chronological order based, starting with the first type of energy creation and going on chronologically. So after water and thermal-based energy creation, extraction, and storage, supply, and all that, we devised methods to use the natural air itself for the creation of energy. You might have seen in the middle of the country, Rajasthan to Odisha, the dry areas, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, northern, Maharashtra, northern Karnataka, Telangana, and all, where you get to see dry areas. That means less water areas or less rainy areas where there will be wind. The climate will be very dry, and you are trying to encapsulate the same. The wind flow you are capturing and creating energy. And this doesn't result in any environmental imbalance, or it doesn't result in any environment damage at all. So I believe this is the best possible way of creating energy. So the natural flow of air, maybe around mountains, maybe around deserts, maybe around dry areas, if you are able to capture it, the same you are converting it into the electricity, right? You might have seen the people who are travel freaks. They might have come across this in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, in northern Maharashtra, certain regions of Gujarat, also North Karnataka, North Andhra Pradesh. I mean, most of the dry areas, less rainfall areas, you might have come across these big fans. They will be naturally moving, and with the movement of air, they create energy. And this has to be this we need to fuel more. and private participation needs to be allowed in this air-based energy sector, where the private public collaboration can give you better result with no or very minimum environment or climate-based damage. You are able to create natural energy, and whenever air flows, you are creating energy because of the momentum that air would bring in, and it is creating energy, air-based energy. This is the third type of energy sector that we are having. And these three are most established. Remember, water-based energy creation, thermal or coal-based energy creation, and air-based energy creation are very standardized, formal, and universally accepted also. Of course, with the due respect to the environmental concerns that we are having against thermal-based energy. These three energy sectors are very common, and more or less it is settled. Maybe as an intellectual property lawyer, you may be trying to incentivize the better methods. As I mentioned, less consumption of water, less consumption of coal, little environment pollution, and stuff like that. So you are going for improvisation of methods and processes here in these three sectors: water, coal, and air-based energy creation. Now, the next 3 or 4 segments that I will mention are the new segments in the energy sector, where you are going about creating and coming out with the new and better methods of electricity or energy creation, right? Where this energy is not creating any problem to anybody, including environment, and it is giving you better results, right? Now, so in this segment, you get to see the first one, battery-based energy. Here, lithium and copper. Like I mentioned, coal also you are mining, water also you are mining, sand you are mining, right? Similarly, you are now mining lithium and copper. So when mankind observed that the Mother Earth is having lithium resource, copper resource and all, and the scientists figured out that lithium and copper based combination, right, would create some energy which we can use, and that is getting stored in battery. And nowadays we are getting to see battery based vehicles, battery based car, battery based two-wheeler, and of course all our devices, electronic devices are battery based only. Of course, they infuse power supply through our power sockets, but other way around, they are battery based. So the entire battery industry, whatever we have now, say from past 7 to 8 decades back, we initiated it, and now it's looming large, and or more or less it is dominating now the energy sector, because it is consuming lithium and copper, and it is compared to water-based and in particular coal or thermal-based energy creation. This battery-based energy creation is giving minimum or less amount of pollution or damage, but it can be stored better than your water-based energy, thermal or air-based energy, because the battery itself is meant for storing it, and it is very mobileable. Unlike your water, thermal or air-based energy, it is mobile. You can carry it, and the entire automobile sector or entire electronic sector is actually looming large because of this fourth energy sector that we have in place: battery-based energy creation by using naturally available, say, lithium and copper resource that we are having in our country. Then the fifth energy sector, right, which is very controversial, and even Professor Shaiwal also mentioned indirectly about it: nuclear energy. In 1971, for the first time, we tested nuclear, energy in India, and of course, United Nations is having serious objections to it. Not only for India, all the 12 atomic energy-based countries like USA, Russia, China, France, Britain, India, Pakistan, right? All the atomic energy-based nations, there is a treaty also saying that nobody will use atomic energy as an action. It can be only as a reaction, right? You cannot take action if when you have nuclear energy, because it will create a lot of havoc, like we have seen in Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World Wars. Now, that is negative way of using nuclear power. Now, energy creation for human consumption, or for our societal consumption, is positive way of using nuclear energy by using your atomic protons, neutrons, and electrons. Again, people having physics and electronics background would be in a better position to know. So recombination of these protons, neutrons, and electrons are, by virtue of which you are recombining and binding, and it is resulting in creation of energy, nuclear energy. Since it is controversial for normal energy creation, it is not that easily allowed, right? Because there is no guarantee that you may say that you may seek license from Government of India that I'm actually using nuclear power for electricity creation, and I will supply to Manfold or any like that. But if it falls into the antisocial elements hand, and there is no guarantee that it is not used in a negative way. So for general human consumption or societal consumption, nuclear energy creation is not allowed yet, but there is a great potential in that, right? And which can possibly create. I'm not saying that you go for nuclear bomb blasting and create energy. That's not the way. I'm talking about coming out with better methods and processes by without blasting, right? Only with recombination, right? Or only with recombining, if it is possible to create energy, because nuclear energy is the most powerful, right? It probably the having highest degree of velocity, highest degree of strength in terms of energy creation. That potency we can map, provided that all those precautions or necessary requirements we take, and even United Nations will have to come into picture to allow any particular country to go about using nuclear power for energy creation, right? So this is the fifth one. The next energy sector that I'm talking about is solar. Solar energy. It's again natural. You are trying to capture the sun's energy. Now, I think in the state of Gujarat, the solar energy creation has been done in a better possible way, and they have gone about coming out with the creative methods by which on rivers, right? Rivers will be covered with the solar panels, so that the reverse water is not getting evaporated under the sun, and also using the same solar panels, you're creating energy. So it's double impact, right? Similarly, on the roofs of say big apartments, houses, factories, and all. Anyhow, you have to have roof. Instead of having normal roof, go for solar panels, right? You are having roof also, and also you are using capturing solar power and creating energy, right? So and if you're going for that now across the country, that has been initiated now, that if you're going for having solar panel based roof, Government of India is giving subsidy, because you are not only having roof for yourself, your company, your entrepreneur, your factory, whatever, and you are creating nuclear, solar energy, which is going to be used by you, and you can supply to other people also by taking permission from the local government, right? And state of Gujarat has done remarkable job in the past 2 decades, and now from past 5 years, I believe Government of India across the country is promoting this, nuclear solar power creation project, wherein you and me also in our households also on our top, we can use it, and right, by virtue of that, we can also we can not only kill the heat, but use the same heat for creating energy, and it is the best possible way of creating energy, I believe, because it is having double impact. You are having roof, you are under the shadow, you are able to preserve the water, you are not letting the water to evaporate, and even on in case of what you call horticulture, or consumable goods like tomato, brinjal and all, which are perishable, which cannot sustain a lot of heat. There also you can go about creating, especially this grapes farming, where you cannot have you cannot let these crops to get under the serious beat of the heat by the sun. There also you can go about creating this panel with a double impact. You are saving the crop, you are saving the water, you are having the roof, right? You are you are minimizing the temperature below the roof, solar panel based roof, and above the solar panel you are creating energy. And this is a very innovative project that Government of India is having now. And in this sector, again, intellectual property law is poised to promote for using even small households also. You need not be big entrepreneur to become a party to solar energy creation. Even a small house, 30-40 house, on the roof you can have the solar panel, and you can get hooked to the electricity grid, which is available nearby you. And by virtue of that, you are not only a use consumer, you are a supplier of energy, believe me. Yeah, you are not only the consumer of energy, you are supplier. So every household can become an entrepreneur if you are willing to learn something new. If the local scientists are able to give you some better methods and processes by virtue of which this consumer entrepreneurship, I repeat, consumer entrepreneurship can be created. where the supply and demand and supply will not be there. You are the creator, you are the supplier, you are the consumer, right? And it is also making the people who are not having jobs to have jobs also, right? You need a person to look after all that energy, solar based energy creation and all that, and somebody who in your house or somebody around you can have a job for that also. So, and it is the best way of creating energy. And here IP scholars are looking for better methods, new methods of solar panel creation, right? Solar panel creation, solar panel assembling, different methods of solar panel assembling. Solar panel assemblings on the house, solar panel assemblings on the river, on the top of the river, solar panel assemblings on the crops, right? Like this, different types of methods and processes by which you are able to assemble, arrange, combine solar panels, and whatever energy, electricity that you are able to create by using solar power, that can be conserved, that can be stored, and can be supplied. So here, the most of the IP promotions, most of the patents, most of the trade secrets in the energy sector are actually coming from this solar based energy creating platform. Okay, then the next one, biofuels. And when we talk about biofuels, I'm also talking in terms of biodegradation and creating energy by using the waste that we dispose. It could be human waste, it could be urban waste, it could be rural waste, whatever. That's something that we throw, dust, whatever we call it as. By using the same, you are able to create energy, maybe by burning it, or by putting it inside the earth and letting it for degradation naturally. And by virtue of that, you are creating some energy. And even bio waste, when we talk about animal waste, human waste, by that also you are able to create some amount of gas,
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಡಾಟಾಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ.
Some amount of energy can be created. Bio-based energy by using bios, bacteriums, plants, animal waste, human waste, and the waste that our urban societies create. That entire waste can be let for biodegradation, and that by aftermath of degradation, you can not only create electricity but even gas also. Right? You might have heard about gobar gas based upon the usage of animal waste. Right? Similarly, now any waste for that matter, there are new methods and processes that are coming out, wherein any waste for that matter, it could be a very, very normal and decent waste, like dry leaves that that we get to see around us in gardens and plants and all. Right? Any type of waste for that matter. There are now scientists are coming out with new methods by virtue of which any waste can be degraded, any waste can be used for creating gas and as well electricity. So here again, intellectual property law is poised to promote new methods, better methods of biodegradation, better methods of creation of gas and as well electricity through bio-based energy creation. Right? So these are the new methods. These are the new platforms where intellectual property law is promoting, incentivizing, rewarding better methods, new methods, novel methods of energy creation, and if possible, without damaging the environment. And it is where you call these energies are green energy. Of course, we have natural oil, we have natural gas. Of course, the Reliance company, one of the biggest and noted companies in India, right? Which is having the license for extracting gas and oil from Godavari river basin in Telangana, Maharashtra, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. Government of India has licensed those oil and gas mines in Maharashtra, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh, where river Godavari flows. And here again, the oil and gas that you are not creating here, you are extracting beneath the deep water, especially these rivers which are there around, I mean, 24/7 or across the year. These rivers which never get dry, Ganga, Godavari, like those rivers. Beneath those rivers, there are oil and gas reserves, which the private public participation is now able to extract. You are not creating, unlike thermal extraction, burning coal and creating energy. No, here you are not doing that. You are extracting. But only problem will be that when you extract oil, when you extract gas, there will be some wastage. if you remember, especially intellectual property scholars, if they remember, Diamond versus Ananda Chakraborty case instance, where Ananda Chakraborty devised a genetically modified bacterium which will eat up environment pollutants created out of oil spills. Similar kind of oil spills it will create, right? Irregular, right, untimely extraction of oil and gas from any river I'm talking about. It could be river Godavari or river Ganga, right? If you go for irregular, untimely, right, extraction of oil and gas, it may pollute your river Ganga, it may pollute your river Godavari, because it will create, oil coverage, on the top of the river or on the shores of the river, banks of the river. And for that, you need to come out with the Diamond versus Ananda Chakraborty kind of methods. It may be bio-based method, you are creating bacterium genetically modified, or any different method by virtue of which you are not letting oil to leak out. You are not letting oil to spoil the health of the river, or damage the shores or banks of the river. So we are looking for now new methods where oil and gas extraction, which is a natural gas extraction, natural energy extraction, doesn't pollute the rivers, doesn't pollute the environment. And such a type of innovative methods of oil and gas extraction, IPLA is now looking for, right? So again, like your water, like your air, your oil and gas is also natural. You are not burning anything here, right? In case of bio fuels and all, you are burning the waste and creating, right? But here, natural oil extraction, natural gas extraction, natural air usage, natural water usage. And these four segments are called as green energy segments. I repeat, natural oil extraction, natural gas extraction, using water, natural water, and using natural air. By virtue of which, if you are creating energy, no pollution, no damage whatsoever, right? These are the four segments of energy which are called as green energy sector. Water-based energy sector, air-based energy sector, natural oil and natural gas-based energy sector. The rest of the other sectors like thermal or coal, battery-based, right, bio-based, or not green energy sector. They are red because they are actually, burning. You are burning something and creating red, fire, and aftermath of that, you are creating energy. Of course, solar energy is also, right? Water, air, solar, oil, natural oil and gas. 5 segments you can count for. These are the 5 natural energy sector, and these are the 5 energy sectors which are considered to be called as green energy sector. And here we are now poised to promote these 5 green energy sectors only. I personally believe that we should shut all our coal or thermal based minings ranging from Jharkhand, till Telangana's Singareni, the biggest coal mine of the entire South Asia. We need to shut it, if not today, tomorrow. And also battery based also we need to shut, because we are extracting lithium and copper from Mother Earth, again creating some imbalance. Similarly, biofuels also, of course, if not to the extent of burning the coal, here also you are burning some waste and whatever and creating it. So, and let us minimize these 3 sectors: thermal based, coal based, or your biofuel based and battery based sectors. These sectors are doing remarkable job in creating energy, but they are polluting the environment. They're creating some problems. So we need to minimize the usage of these 3 energy sectors, or come out with new methods, better methods, innovative methods by virtue of which you can minimize the damage to the environment while creating energy, or go for these green-based energy sectors where by using water you are creating energy, by using air you are creating energy, by using solar power, solar sunrise you are creating energy, or you are going for natural gas and oil extraction beneath the seas, or beneath seawater, or beneath the river water. And even this natural oil and gas extraction also, as I mentioned, will create some or the other environment problem. But air-based, water-based, and sun-based, these are the, you can say, pure green energy sectors: water, air, and solar. These 3 energy sectors can be considered to be pure green energy sectors. We need to promote more and more innovation in these 3 sectors: water-based energy creation, air-based energy creation, and solar-based energy creation. And intellectual property law is poised to promote, incentivize, and reward better usage of these 3 energy sectors, and minimizing the other sectors of energy where you have some or the other environment or pollution-related issues. With these few words, I will close my keynote session. I believe that I could throw some light on the energy innovation, where from and which and all sectors say our public interest, because it's not just about making money, promoting economy. We need to respect our Mother Earth. We need to respect the life of other living beings on the earth. So that is what is called a sustainable development. Therefore, energy sector should lead to sustainable development. Green energy, sustainable development should be the walk and talk of intellectual property law in the days to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You did not put only a small light, but you have spoken comprehensively around the energy sector. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I have the absolute privilege to welcome and invite Dr. Rujita Ma'am to address our esteemed audience.
Can I share a slide?
Yes, you can
Sure, ma'am.
share.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Let me please introduce you to the
Yes,
attendants of today's program.
before we go with your presentation, ma'am, we would like to introduce you to our participants. Please proceed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. We welcome you to today's program. Dr. Rujita T.R. Shinoy is an esteemed academician and researcher specializing in intellectual property rights and commercial laws. Currently serving as an assistant professor at National Law University, Odisha, she holds a PhD in law from National University and Judicial Academy, Assam, focusing on the patentability of genetic technologies and the right to healthcare. With over a decade of teaching experience, Dr. Shinoy has previously held positions at institutions such as the School of Legal Studies, Cochin University of Science and Technology, and Gujarat National Law University. Her expertise encompasses areas like biosimilar drug development, biotechnology patenting, and the intersection of IPR with public health. Dr. Shinoy has been recognized internationally for her contributions to IPR scholarship, notably for receiving the Young Asian IP Scholar Award at 5th Asian IP Works in Progress Conference in 2020. She has presented her research at prestigious forums including Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, Arizona University, and University of Geneva. Her academic publications are featured in Scopus and UGC listed journals, and she has authored book chapters on topics such as seed patenting and access to biomedical technologies. Additionally, Dr. Shinoy has served as a consultant for Greenpeace India, focusing on patents related to agricultural products. So, beyond her academic pursuits, Dr. Shinoy has been invited speaker at various national and international seminars, contributing to discussions on IPR, biotechnology, and human rights. Ma'am, we are indeed fortunate to have your esteemed virtual presence, and we look forward for your insightful thoughts. Please, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for giving this opportunity in this international webinar on intersection of intellectual property and energy innovation. So I'll be discussing on the topic of patenting green technologies, trends and challenges. So already Professor Srinivas sir has already been elaborated about the green technologies. So it becomes easier for me to discuss on the issues relating to patenting and the challenges we are facing now. So when we go to the patenting of green technologies, first, there is no particular uniform definition or classification that is being followed in different jurisdictions. So we can say that even though we are having different international conventions or international agreements like Paris, as well as the Kyoto Protocol relating to mitigation of climate change, etc. But we can see that there is no particular uniform classification of green technology-based definition has not been followed. So generally, we can say that all kind of renewable energy-based technologies is included in order to define what do you mean by a green technology. Also, we can say that in order to remove carbon dioxide as well as what we can also say is decarbonization, these kind of technologies are also covered under green technologies. Also for the removal of waste, even including plastics and low or we can say that low carbon dioxide emission-based technologies are basically being covered. Even when we search in different database of patents, which is covered under the green technologies. So when we say about the definition, as I mentioned, that there is no particular uniform standards or any kind of definition that is being uniformly followed in any jurisdiction regarding what you mean by green technology. So just like any other kind of invention or innovation, we can see that in case of mitigating the effects of what we can say as the increase in the carbon dioxide, which results into the global warming, as well as how it is harming the environment, which is including all kind of biotic and living as well as the non-living organism, how it has been affected. So also, which is also resulting into the what we can see as the global climate change and how it is affecting, including the human beings. So when we look into what all other technologies we have developed and diffusion of these technologies to the global south or not, because if the technologies relating to mitigation of climate change as well as for the purpose of reducing carbon dioxide, etc., if these are developed basically by the developed countries like US, European countries, etc., so in such cases, how it is possible for the diffusion of these technologies to the global south? Because we can say that the climate change is a shared problem. It's a global problem because it is contributed by all the countries in this world. So developing of the technologies by a specific sector or the companies which belongs to the developed countries and having monopolies of the technology they have developed, it's not going to solve the problem. So what is the solution that can be provided so that the technology that is developed in the developed countries like US or the Europe can be shared with the developing countries as well as with the least developed countries? Because you cannot leave any other countries because it is a shared problem altogether because of the global warming which is affecting the whole earth itself. So that is the reason, based on the sustainable goals of the sustainable development, we are saying that there should be a sustainable innovation. So green technology is one of the innovation in order to mitigate the climate change as well as for the sustainable development. So we can say that basically these kind of green technologies helps in reducing the environmental harm, that is, which is reducing the emission of carbon dioxide or carbonization based technologies, as well as to reduce or to recycle the plastics or to remove the waste as such, and to develop renewable based technologies and the hydrogen based technologies. So these technologies will facilitate in order to reduce the carbon dioxide emission, thereby there can be a sustainable development by facilitating more technologies and invention and innovation along the side, the sustainable development can happen. So when we look into, while we promote invention and innovation, we know that it is intellectual property rights which comes into our mind. Because if there is no intellectual property rights, whenever you are investing for developing any kind of technology or any kind of invention, we need an assurance that nobody is going to copy your technology. So that is the importance of having the intellectual property rights. That is, there should be patents if you are developing any kind of invention. In such cases, you should have patents in order to protect your invention. So that is the reason patents are important in order to protect any kind of invention, or further, if you are developing an invention, we can say that for such kind of innovations also, to get a patent protection is crucial. So what all are the advantages of patent protection? In such cases, we know that it gives exclusive rights to the inventors. That is, it will give you, or the patent grants you the right to restrain, right to exclude. We can say that you sell or import or
कह रही थी ऐसी कोई बात चली
sell
थी
that
अभी जब ये
particular
मिली मिली आई
technology.
हुई थी तो मिली ने मेरा नाम ले दिया था क्यों मतलब वो भी बात करती है और ऐसे करके
Somebody can
तो
switch
फिर
off the
मैंने
mic.
कह रही मिली फिर मैंने फेसबुक वगैरह सबसे हटा दिया कि करो तुम और बिल मेरा नाम का फाड़ो तुम.
Ma'am, you can proceed. Dr. Rujita ma'am, you can proceed.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
So green patents, that is trying to get patents for your green technology, which will help you to get exclusive rights over your invention or innovation. So you can exclude others if somebody is copying your invention or imitating your invention or infringing your invention like that. So basically granting patents for the green technology promotes research and development because you are able to invest more in that particular technology or the invention that you want to come to or to give to that society. And second is by way of getting exclusive rights, you are able to license your technology to other stakeholders or other companies who are interested in selling that particular product or to develop further your technology and make any other kind of product. So the technology transfer is another way of by which you can make also profit out of it, or by way of which you can say that you are getting an economic benefits out of it. So by way of technology transfer also, it supports global sustainability because any of the companies who have developed this kind of green technology, they will be able to share this technology to developing countries like India as well as to least developed countries. As I already said that the global warming or the climate change, all these are a shared problem. So even if the technology has been developed in a particular country, like developed country, they can easily share this technology as well as by way of licensing, the developing country can use this so that we can reduce these kind of carbon emission, etc. At the same time, the developer or the patent holder is able to get economic benefits out of it. So facilitating investment in case of research and development is one of the benefit by way of granting intellectual property rights for these kind of inventions and innovations. So thereby it is attracting the private and public funding in order to develop green technologies. So thereby we can have a sustainable kind of inventions or innovation, thereby sustainable development goals can be achieved. So when we look into the patenting trends, specifically relating to green technology, here we can see that using renewable energy, the patent applications that has been filed from 2011 to 2021. So using renewable energy, the patent filings has been increased till 2018. And you can see after that, there is a decrease in the patent filings. So this data is based on the European Patent Office database. So we can see that there is a throughout innovations taking place in this particular energy sector, especially in the renewable energy. And the number of filings keeps on increasing till 2018. And after that, you can see some decline after that. It can be based on COVID also, but we can see still the innovation is going on. And especially when it comes to the energy, the other sectors like decarbonization technologies. So in this particular graph, we can see that the number of patent applications that has been filed, it's keep on increasing from 2017 and a little bit, it gone down in 2018. Then after 2020, it increased. So here we can see that the decarbonization technology, the number of patents that has been filed has been increased from 2011 to 2021, though it a little bit decreased in 2020. And if we look into the other energy sector, that is another green energy sector, that is hydrogen energy. In case of the hydrogen energy also, we can see that from 2011 to 2021, this graph shows that it has increased from 2011 to 21, it kept on increasing. So all these three graphs based on the different renewable energy sector like hydrogen energy, or even if it is based on the renewable energy, we can see that the patent filings kept on increasing. Maybe in the last two graph, you can see after 2020, there was a decline in number of patent filings, but now we can say that it is gradually increasing. But in case of hydrogen energy, in this graph, you can see that it kept on increasing till 2011. So all of this data is based on the European patent database. And this graph depicts the patent filings in the global south and global north. So this shows that here these blue lines, which shows that there is a steep increase in the patent filings till 2010, and it declined, and later it increased, that is till 2023. And if you look into this particular graph, that is of Global South, you can see there is a steep increase till 2015, and it further increased till 2023. And this yellow line, which further shows that this is a Global South, which is excluding China. So which shows that it kept on increasing, but when comparing to the Global South, which including China, we can see that the substantial inventions relating to green technologies, the contribution is substantially from China. So these two yellow lines, which shows the difference in the contribution to the green technologies that is developed by China vis-a-vis other South Asian countries. So which means that we can see a huge gap, the contribution of China towards developing green technology, and when it comes down by excluding China, how the graph goes. Though there is an increase in the filings of patents relating to green technology, but we can see that the China contributes substantially for developing green technology. This is, yeah. So when it comes to India, we can see that the number of granted patents specific to green technology related patents from 2016 to 2024, this graph shows the steady increase in the green technology patent filings, so especially the granted patents this graph depicts. So from 2017, it was 5,816 patents being filed, and till 2021-22, we can see it's around 13,296 patents being filed. So we can see the gradual increase in patent grants in India, specifically relating to the green technologies. And specifically, the sectors which has been covered in the green technology, when we look into the plastic recycling industry, so this graph also depicts that the inventions relating to the plastic recycling industry in India, that is also the contribution by this particular industry also kept on increasing. But you can also see that there is a, when compared to the other plastic recycling, otherwise other related industry, it is huge in case of plastic recycling when compared to the other industries. And the top 5 applicants in waste recovery. So this shows that which all are the different globally, which all are the companies or the applicants which top specifically in case of the waste recovery. So this data from 2010 to 2019, which shows that the Japanese company tops, followed by US, China, Japan, and South Korea. And also we can see from this graph also the top 15 applicants in low carbon emission based technology. It also in the top we can see the Toshiba from Japan, followed by the South Korean company like Volkswagen, then US company Ford, then followed by Hitachi of Japan, then LG from South Korea. So like that, you can see these are the top 15 applicants, those who are filing for the green technology specific to the low carbon emission based technology. So from all this data, what we can say is that from 2010 onwards, we can see the different companies of different countries, either it is a global south or even if it is a global north, all the companies are trying their level best in order to come up with different invention or innovation in order to reduce the carbon emission, as well as to recycle the plastic waste, as well as to remove the waste itself by coming up with different kind of technologies. And they are also patenting these kind of technologies also. And from the graph itself, we can see that the increase in filing of patents from 2010 or from 2005 in the other graph to 2023. So when we look into what all are the problems that we are facing, Because from all this graph, we can see that yes, because these are from the WIPO database also, which shows the patent filings in different jurisdiction and which company or the patent applicants topmost. So when we come to intellectual property, innovation and access, that is, even if the different companies are coming up with their particular technologies, is it the problem that intellectual property creates an hindrance like patents restricts others from using these technologies or not? Because we know that the monopoly is having the power to limit access to such kind of technology, because the exclusive right is given to the patent holder. Without their permission, you cannot get access to such kind of technology, otherwise it will result into infringement. Or if the patented product is not accessible because of the high prices also, you will not be getting access to such kind of technologies. So this creates a kind of conflict between exclusive rights as well as the public interest in order to get access to these kind of green technologies, so that either anyone from the global south can make use of this particular technologies, so that the global, what we can say is the carbon emission can be reduced. Because the latest agenda what was followed was there should be a negative carbon. So in order to reach that particular level by 2050, there should be not only invention and innovation, but also diffusion of this technology should also be there. So as we have seen, it is the global not contributing with the number of patent filings or the patents granted or the technology they have developed. But that is not enough. They have to share this technology with this global south also. Then only this shared problem can be resolved. So the conflict between the exclusive rights and the public interest is a crucial problem. So how to resolve this technology transfer barrier is another important things to be solved. So we can see that in case of United Nations climate change conference like Paris Agreement, as well as in case of WTO agreement like intellectual property, TRIPS agreement. In all these international agreements, we can see that it also all these agreements promotes transfer of technology. So it says that the technology developer countries like developed countries like or the global north should also transfer the technology to the developing countries. But we look into practically, we can see that there are no such kind of instances or any kind of enthusiasm that is coming from these technology developed countries or the patent holders or IP holders in order to transfer their technology to developing countries. So which means the real impact is basically limited, even though we are having a lot of technology, but how it is impacting the diffusion of this technology to especially to the global south. So the impact that is created by this technology or the how its benefit to flow to the entire globe, that is basically been limited. So there are many barriers. As I said, the technology transfer barriers, there can be many reasons. Patent can be one of that. Because if the patent holder don't want to transfer the technology by way of voluntary license, because it can be high licensing fee can be charged by the patent holder. Because of the higher cost itself, it becomes a barrier for any of the stakeholders or interested party to access that particular technology. So the IP restriction is one of the reasons for the technology transfer barrier. Secondly, sometimes you won't be able to replicate the same technology which has been developed for the specific geography in your country or in your place. So the technology which can be used in any place so that it can be a solution for this global climate change problem, it has to be developed, the technology has to be developed in such a manner. So otherwise, we will see the problem of replicating the technology from one particular geography to another. And sometimes there will be a lack of local capacity for some countries to develop that particular technology also. So these are some of the reasons why we can see that the technology is not being transferred from the global north to global south. And again, the other reasons like patent tickets and fragmentation. So which means, as we have seen in the graph, that the patents being filed in different countries. So getting multiple patents can result into patent tickets. For example, like a technology based on decarbonization. So there might be a lakhs of patents being filed for decarbonization based on technology. So in such cases, whenever you are inventing around, as well as you try to get a license from them, it can result into complex licensing process because you have to get license from different patent holders. Secondly, if you are taking a risk that you might be thinking that this is, I am not transgressing into the boundary of the patents of the others, but again, you are taking the risk of litigation. So this can happen because of patent tickets. It becomes a complex licensing process may result into, as well as it creates a kind of fragmentation. So it becomes difficult for anyone to invent around, and the risk of litigation will also be there. So there are many instances of innovations in case of solar and wind energy where the patent, because of the patent tickets and fragmentation, the other companies are not able to invent around and to carry on with more innovations relating to that. So this is another problem we are facing, the patent tickets and fragmentations. And the challenges, as I already mentioned, that is, even though we are coming up with new technologies and innovation, but getting access to this technology is the vital one, where this is not practically being happening. That is the flow of technology from the global north to south. And the barriers which I already discussed in case of technology transfer between the global south and north because of the patent tickets or the fragmentation of patents, and also the jurisdictional differences in different countries because of also the patent is territorial in nature, and also the higher cost of licensing that is also involved. So these are some of the reason or the challenges of what we are facing. And we can also say that other kind of alternatives we can follow. That is, not only the patents can be an ideal situation in order to facilitate invention or innovation, it can be by granting some type of grant by the government to the innovators or to the inventors, which is called as a prize competition. Second can be advanced market commitment. That is, the government will be assuring that we will be purchasing this much work of products from you on this particular fixed rate. So which means the innovator will be getting that particular amount fixed for that specific bulk of products that will be produced by the innovator. So in that way, the innovator is basically being benefited out of the advanced market commitment. Third is regarding the impact fund. So in case of impact fund, which means that you will be given exposed right after the product has been produced. So which means once the invention is in the market based on what is the social benefit that has been given by your product to the society, based upon it, you will be awarded, you will be paid for that. And the fourth one is by way of tax credit. That is by giving tax concession for you for the investment that you have made in the research and development, the tax credits can be given to such kind of companies. So these are the alternative ways in which you can incentivize the innovators or inventors even in order to facilitate the green technologies. So the patent is not the ideal situation, as I have already mentioned the barriers of getting access to this kind of technology because of patents, etc. And we have also seen during the COVID also the barriers to get vaccine because of the intellectual property protection. So I would like to say that to ensure the diffusion of the new technologies, what we require is that we shouldn't leave any particular countries behind. At the same time, there should be a technology flow from the technology developed countries to all the countries, and there should be a systematic dynamism in the flow of this technology. So that should be maintained. And also to maintain a dynamic perspective on incentives for invention and innovation. So by way of combining the intellectual property system as a one way of incentivizing the innovators or inventors, we should also combine other incentives so that the perspectives of incentivism should be something dynamic. So that should be the concept we should follow. So by these suggestions, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your comprehensive thought and your presentation to the participants. Now, we approach to the conclusion of the first session. And this was really intensive and enriching academic discourse.
Is patent pooling and diffusion of green technology, a critical analysis with India and USA. So good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, I will deep dive into this topic, and this presentation is a comprehensive research paper which is examining that how the patent pooling is a collaborative strategy where the patent holders share the intellectual property and will influence the spread of green technology in the two major economies. With the climate change posing an unprecedented global challenge, the green technologies like the solar panels and the wind turbines are vital. Yet, their diffusion is often stifled by the intellectual property barriers. So, with this gap, how the patent pooling can bridge this particular gap? So, I am thrilled to guide you with this critical topic. So, the first is the introduction. So, let us first understand what is a patent pooling. So, understanding the patent pooling through an example would be a better option. That imagine there is a group of companies, each holding a valuable patents, deciding to pool their intellectual property into a shared resource. Right, and this consortium allows them to the cross-license these patents among themselves to the external parties, creating a streamlined way to use this complex technology, particularly to the goal that is to promote an innovation while something is in the dominant position. So, like in the historical example of MPEG2 patent pool in the 1990s, where the companies like the Sony, Philips were bundled with the patents essential for the digital video compression. This simplified the TV manufacturers cutting costs and avoiding the legal battles over the patent infringement. So these benefits are very clearly being stated. It is reducing the headache of the negotiating dozens of individual licenses, minimizing the costly litigation. And however, a flip side of this is that a patent pools can raise the antitrust red flags. If they enable the price fixing or exclude the competitors, attention will explode further in this presentation. Coming up with the slide 2, which is talking about the antitrust concerns in the patent pooling. So, pertaining to this, the issue has been raised out that the collaboration will lead to an anti-competitive behavior like the price fixing. So, let us understand through an example. Like, imagine there are the two leading solar panel manufacturers pooling their patents and then refusing to license them to the smaller rivals, effectively locking them out to the market, or worse, they could collude to the fixer pricing, driving up the cost for the consumers and prevent them. So the patent pool must be designed to be pro-competitive in that nature, that the tackling of what's known to be designed to be patent thicket, a tangled mass of overlapping the patents that can stall the technological progress. But in the US, the antitrust guidelines for licensing of the intellectual property was being established in 1995, which was updated over the time, providing us a roadmap pertaining that they treat the patent pools and cross-licensing agreement with a similar scrutiny, ensuring the complementary patents are essential to a technology and pooled, while the substitute patents would be suppress the competition and are left out of the mix. Coming up with the slide 3, which is talking about the patent pooling and the green technology. What is the main importance of a patent pooling and the green technology? It is very pivot to understand that why patent pooling matters so much for the green technology. Innovations like the wind turbines, electric vehicles, carbon capture systems are the best shot to combat the climate change. But coming up with the United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change, they have shown an idea that the technology mechanism which was being established in the year of 2010, which is facilitating that the tech transfer to the least developed countries are to be supported and being funded to bring the solar and the wind technology to the places like the rural India, proving that the patent pooling can be a game changer for the global sustainability. Coming up with the fourth slide, which is talking about the patent pledge and the eco-patent commons. Another fascinating angle on this is talking about that there is an altruistic cousin of the patent pooling. Patent pledges are the altruistic cousin of the patent pooling. Why so? That the companies are voluntarily making their patents royalty free to support the environmental goals. A standout example of the eco-patent commons for the sustainable development goal, like in the year of 2008, which has talked about the IBM, Nokia, Sony, which has a partnership with the World Business Council for the sustainable development. These initiatives were being taken from the startups to the non-profits, which has used the pledged patents which are free as long as the outcome benefits for the environment. Like if I talk about, for an instance, in the IBM, there was a recycling of the silicon wafers used in the solar panels, cutting the cost for the solar industry. Unlike the patent pools, which often come into a licensing fees and restricted the access, the pledges are open to all, no strings are being attached with them. This makes a powerful tool for the small players or the developing nations that can't afford a traditional licensing, amplifying the reach of green tech in the ways the pools alone can't be done. Coming up with the financial factors and the R&D, we talk about the financial factor of the research and development, which is quite the company has to protect their profits while spreading the green technology. Though we already know that the R&D isn't cheap in the market, but think of the billions which has been poured in the next generation batteries for the electric vehicles, that they must also prioritize the diffusion. If we talk about the renewable energy with a clear pattern, it has been stating that when the technology go up with a patent, the competition surge and the prices plummet. Take the solar panels after the key patents have been expired in the early 2000s, that their cost has been dropped by 80% thanks to the new players who are entering into the market. Because cutting the edge of that particular tech is still under the patent, like the advanced wind turbine designs, and the pools can often be controlled access while fostering the collaborations. So the economic integration, such as the trade agreements and the joint ventures between the US and the Indian firms, further smooths this process and creating a global market space where the green tech innovations can thrive into and prohibited barriers. Coming up with the slide 6, which is talking about the policy interventions for the green technologies. So pertaining to this, how the green tech adoption with the turbocharge can be done. If we talk about the carbon taxes which has been levied in our CO2, pushing them into the cleaner technology like the patent pools is another regulating the higher emissions activities such as the coal-based power plants to shift the reliance toward the renewables, but the real focus is on the developing countries where the green tech is the most needed and yet accessible. But if we talk about with an instance of an India context, that the green patent approvals are to be subsidized with the local firms joining the international patent pools, and the private sector with the tax credit for the company sharing the green patent can be a spark action for that. If we talk about the agreement that has been stated in the Paris Agreement, urging that a richer nations to the fund on the tech transfers to the poorer ones, a mission patent pools can fulfill its back by the smart policies. Coming up with the patent pooling with the concept of the USA, which is talking about that if we talk about the medicines patent pool, that it has been shared with the cost of the HIV drugs by the patent pools, that the green tech has been lagging behind in that particular domain. Why it has been lagging behind? That the market being slower to embrace the pooling there, even the climate needs to grow. Interestingly, is that the small firms are being encouraging and outpacing their big corporations with just a 1.5% of their portfolios. That to scale up with the US needs policy and the grant for the green patent pools, without it, the country has been risk considering the green tech leadership to the others also. But to the scale of the US need policy, it has already been streamlining the licensing that we have been talking about. Like I mentioned in the slide of the innovation of the small firms leading to the green patenting of the 40% of the patent. Now, if we talk about with the context of the patent pooling in our India has been meanwhile a rising star for the green tech. Over the decade, if you talk about the green patent application has been skyrocketed. Why they have been skyrocketed? Because it has been quite tricky that whether the biogas innovation or the sustainability, which are causing a particularly hot and a rapid industrialization for this domain, the legal landscape of the Indian Patent Act 1970 doesn't mentioning the pools, leaving it ambiguity. While if we talk about with the concept of the Competition Act of 2002, which is keeping a sharp eye on antitrust eyes for the market monopolies. But to unlock this particular potential in our patent act, the US patent offices has been cutting the wait times from the years to the month, with the broader reforms like the tax breaks for the pool participants could also be aligned with the India leading with the global leaders and making it a hub of a green tech diffusions. Coming up with the conclusion and the future outlook for this particular topic, that to wrap up with this, the patent poolings have been promising for the green tech hinges on the global corporation. The climate change doesn't respect the borders, but so neither should our solutions. This trick is balancing the IP rights, rewarding their inventors with the competition and the urgent need to decarbonize. Pools and pledges like the eco patent commons that we already discussed shows that what the possible that we can knowledge strategically. But apart from this, if we look with the framework of the UNFCCC, which is talking about the United Nations framework on the climate change, which is talking about the cross-border pools, and this success demands actions for all the sides. But when we are talking with the policymakers, so each and every policymakers or each and every incentive of the regulations are to be in such a favor of a diffusion that the innovators, they might be a small or a big in nature, but they have to do some of the collaboration before the isolation gets to that particular firm. So my call to all is that to prioritize sustainability and work together to make a green tech a global reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Is there any questions from audience with regard to this topic? Patent pooling and diffusion of green technology. We are looking for some question from the audience. There is no question. So we shall move to the next paper presenters, Mr. Sharan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready, sir.
Yeah, please share your PowerPoint presentation.
Sir, I don't have power presentation, sir.
So how would you like to speak like this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then
Powering a sustainable.
no, you should have asked us. We could have invited you as a speaker. So we shall go for the next paper presenters. Mr. Agarwal, I think, Divanash Agarwal, ensuring the global access to the sustainable energy through intellectual property in the low-income regions. John Mooney, harassing intellectual property for ESG compliance in the energy sector.
So the topic for my presentation is patent landscape.
A little increase your voice or volume. We are not able to hear you properly. Could you? Yes.
Yes, sir. Just give me a second.
Now it is fine. Yes,
fine?
please
Okay.
proceed.
Yeah. So the topic for my presentation is patent landscapes and technology transfer in renewable energy, a study of barriers and enablers in developing economies. So the global transition towards sustainable energy is intricately tied to technological innovation. Intellectual property, especially patents, among all the other conventional and non-conventional intellectual properties, plays a very important role, a dual role, on one hand incentivizing the innovation and on the other creating potential barriers to the diffusion of clean energy technologies, particularly in developing economies. This paper explores the current patent landscape in the renewable energy sector and examines how IP regimes affect the technology transfer, because with respect to energy sector, this is quite unexplored. Through a qualitative doctrinal analysis and comparative case studies of countries like India, Brazil, and South Africa, the paper outlines institutional, legal, and policy dynamics that impact access to green technologies. Findings indicate that while international frameworks like TRIPS and initiatives such as WIPO Green aim to bridge the innovation access gap, real-world implementation remains fragmented. That is where the major problem is in the implementation access. So the study concludes with policy recommendation focused on open innovation models, compulsory licensing mechanism, and public-private partnership to ensure equitable energy
Ma'am, your
transition.
presentation is not moving. Could you go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
So, moving with the background for the study, the global energy landscape is undergoing a profound transformation with increasing scientific consensus on climate change and the environmental degradation caused by the fossil fuels. The transition to energy and sustainable energy resources has just become not just desirable but imperative as well at the same time. Renewable energy technologies, which is also known as RETs, such as solar photovoltaic systems, wind turbines, bioenergy, and advanced energy storage are central to this shift. These technologies, after the dual promise of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and providing decentralized, inclusive access to the energy. However, the successful deployment and diffusion of such technology across national boundaries, particularly in the developing countries, remain uneven and fraught with systematic challenges. One of the most critical yet unexplored areas in this transition is the role of intellectual property rights, especially patents, again, very important, in governing the development, accessibility, and transfer of renewable energy technologies. Patents provide legal monopolies to innovators for a specific period, granting them exclusive rights to commercialize their inventions. While this mechanism serves as a powerful incentive for research and development, it also has the potential to act as a barrier to access. And that is where the patent is often criticized. Maybe it encourages the innovation, but at the same time, it definitely acts as a barrier to the access to essential things, and especially in the energy sector and pharmaceutical sector. In the context of life-saving technologies such as medicines or increasingly green technologies, this tension between protection and access becomes essentially pronounced. Developing economies, especially a country like India, face a paradox. On one hand, they are among the most vulnerable to the impacts of the climate change and thus have a pressing need to adopt low carbon technologies. On the other hand, they often lack technological capacity, financial resources, and institutional strength. While international legal framework like the Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights under the World Trade Organization and mechanism like WIPO Green and UNFCCC technology mechanism aim to facilitate technology transfer, their impact on ground remains mixed and inconsistent. Moreover, most renewable energy patents are concentrated in a few technologically advanced countries, multinational corporations, creating global power asymmetrics in access and innovation. So the major objective of this paper is to understand and analyze the global patent claims. What are the policies, what are the process, what are the procedure that is being followed by all the developing as well as the developed country, because the process which the countries follow or adopt, that will make a lot of sense when it talks about which kind of countries are we talking about. So that global patent claims is something that we need to understand. Secondly, to identify what are the barriers as well as what are the benefits of the enablers in technology transfer. Thirdly, to examine the role of IP frameworks, all those standardization law, all those laws which kind of help in standardizing the IP frameworks in developing and developed countries, to understand that. And towards the end, moving to recommend any policy, legal reforms, or any thing which can bridge the gap or the loophole that is already in existence. Methodology, talking about the methodology, it uses a doctrinal and qualitative analysis. For case studies, I've taken example of India, Brazil, and South Africa, in which they have been experimenting with the technology transfer in the renewable energy sector. And along with that, data has been collected from WIPO, EPO, and national policies as well. Apart from this, talking about the patent landscape, renewable energy patenting has witnessed exponential growth over the past 2 decades, dominated by countries such as United States, China, Germany, and Japan, each having a different patent landscape altogether. According to WIPO, over 2.5 million patents have been filed globally in RATs, particularly in solar, wind, and energy storage. However, these patents are highly concentrated in multinational corporations and research institutions in the global north. Developing countries, in contrast, exhibit low patent ownership and limited capacity for domestic innovation. This creates a structural imbalance where access to critical technologies is often contingent on licensing fees, trade negotiations, or complex legal arrangements. Barrier to technology transfer in developing economies are moving to the barriers. And now when I say the patent or any kinds of intellectual property laws or frameworks are there for encouraging economic development, but at the same time, these act as a barrier. So for this, I would like to give an example of pharmaceutical sector. So in pharmaceutical sector, if a patent has been granted to a pharmaceutical product, it becomes monopolized and it cannot be used by anyone until the period of patent, that is 20 years, has been passed. So similarly, this is a kind of barrier. So what are the barriers to the technology transfer in a developing economy? Firstly, the patent monopolies. Proprietary control by a few companies restrict the affordability and availability of clean energy technologies. Secondly, lack of negotiation capacity. That is, developing nations often lack the institutional mechanism or legal expertise to engage in effective licensing agreements. Then, weak IP infrastructure, inadequate patent offices, lack of transparency in patent data, and poor enforcement capabilities limit the potential for leveraging IP. Then, conditional trade and aid agreements and cost of innovation at the same time. So, high cost associated with R&D, that is research and development, patent filing, and litigation discourage the local innovation, and also the strict definition that has been attached with the patentability criteria, which involves novelty, invention, innovative step, and industrial application. And lastly, the technology transfer is often tied to geopolitical and economic conditions that undermine the national priorities. Moving to the international legal and policy frameworks. The agreement on trade-related aspect of intellectual property rights provides minimum standards for IP protection globally. Article 66.2 obligates developed countries to incentivize technology transfer to least developed countries. However, the lack of enforceability and vague definition weakens its impact, but it's rarely used in energy technology compared to theoretical tool for public interest, but is rarely used in energy technology compared to pharmaceuticals due to political and diplomatic pressure. So initially also I draw a parallel between pharmaceutical as well as the energy sector. But then in the energy sector, it's very rarely used. In pharmaceutical, the problem is that it is talking about the right to health and constitutional provisions are also in place, and hence there the political pressure, the geopolitical and economic reasons are separate. Yeah, it connects provider and seekers of green tech but lacks binding power and structural financial support. The UNFCCC Paris Agreement established a technology mechanism to facilitate the climate relevant tech transfer. However, its implementation again heavily depends on the bilateral cooperation and voluntary contributions. Moving to findings, which has been no, before findings, I would just like to highlight the case studies, the examples that I've considered. Firstly, India has adopted multiple strategies to foster access to renewable energy transition, such as reverse engineering, public-private partnership, such as National Solar Mission, and compulsory licensing, though unused in energy still now. The ID policy emphasizes balancing innovation with public interest, yet domestic patent filing remains very low, or I must say critically low, but India still depends on foreign tech providers. In contrast to that, Brazil's success with biofuels, especially ethanol, exemplifies how strong state support and public sector R&D can localize innovation. However, in wind and solar, Brazil still relies on foreign patents and components which hampers the scalability and affordability. Again, in contrast to this, we have another example, that is South Africa. South Africa's renewable energy dependent independent power producer procurement program has encouraged some tech transfer. Still, concerns remain over domestic capacity building and influence of global patent owners. So with this, I would like to move to the findings. And the findings are that firstly, the concentration of patents. The access asymmetry is due to patent concentration, which means clean energy patents are primarily held by the firms in developed countries, creating asymmetrics in access. The biggest barrier here is the access to that particular energy. Second, limited use of TRIPS flexibilities. Despite the potential compulsory licensing and other mechanisms are underused due to political and structural barriers. Third, need for stronger South-South collaboration. So countries like India, Brazil, and South Africa has complementary capacities that are underutilized. Maybe it's high time we move from the developed countries to the developing ones, because the resources, and maybe the cost of implementing these policies will be equalated. Next, voluntary mechanisms are insufficient. Platforms like WIPO Green offer matchmaking but are not systematic solution. It is just the shallow solution that it provides with no implementation mechanism that can be actually put in work on field. And the last one, open innovation model, so promise, link IP access with green finance. Initiatives such as patent tools, open licensing, and collaborative R&D can democratize innovation. With this, I would like to conclude my paper. At the same time, the intersection of intellectual property and renewable energy innovation presents both significant challenges and vital opportunities for global climate action at the same time. While IP regimes are designed to foster innovation, their current structure often hinders the equitable dissemination of critical green technologies, especially in developing economies that lack the financial and institutional capacities to access and implement them. The concentration of patents in the hands of few global players and the underutilization of TRIPS flexibilities like compulsory licensing and voluntary nature of international platforms such as WIPO Green limit the potential for meaningful technology transfer. So it's high time, like I already said, it's high time we should move from developed to the developing countries and utilize all the provisions and the policies that are already available. This includes facilitating the use of compulsory licensing in the context of climate emergencies, promoting patent pools, like one of my co-presenter already have mentioned in the previous presentation. Linking green finance mechanism with affordable IP access and strengthening legal and institutional capacity in developing countries. By aligning all these IP policy with global climate and development goals, the international community can ensure that clean energy technologies serve as a tool of empowerment and equity, not just instrument of exclusion, because we generally understand intellectual property as a tool of monopolization or tool of exclusion. But this can actually be changed, or we can just move from this traditional viewing of intellectual property to a more inclusive one. With this, I conclude my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Is there any question from audience? So there is no questions. Now it is my absolute pleasure to invite Srishti to propose the vote of thanks, and we shall wind up today's presentation, and tomorrow we shall proceed with the IPR and circular economy. Srishti, you may proceed.
A very good evening to everyone who have joined us virtually today. It's truly an honor and a pleasure for me to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Studies in the University of Mysore on the occasion of international webinar on the synergy chemistry intersection of intellectual property and energy innovation. To begin with, I'd like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to Professor Dr. Shaiwal Satyarthi, our Chief Guest, and esteemed Professor of Law, University of Delhi. Sir's inspiring address had added great value to the webinar. We are sincerely thankful for Sir's presence and thoughtful insights. A warm thank you to our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Sreenivasulu MS, Professor of Law at MUJS Kolkata. Sir's engaging and in-depth reflection helped us to look at the topic from new, refreshing perspectives. Sir, we are truly grateful to have you with us virtually. We are also very thankful to Dr. Rujita T. R. Shenoy, Professor of Law NLU Odisha, for sharing her expertise and presenting her thoughts so clearly and meaningfully. Their, contri- their contribution enriched the academic depth of today's session. Our sincere thanks to Professor Dr. M.S. Benjamin, Dean and Chairman, Faculty of Law, University of Mysore. Sir, we appreciate your continued support. A special word of appreciation to Sir Syed Kulrat Hashmi, whose vision and dedication has brought this entire webinar to life. Sir, your tireless effort in planning and coordinating everything so seamlessly, and we deeply appreciate your efforts, sir.
Thank you, Sarashti.
A big appreciation to all the paper presenters for their insightful presentation. And finally, I thank all the participants, faculty members, and attendees for being a part of this event and making it a meaningful academic experience. Let's take forward these ideas of learning shared today and continue to grow together in knowledge and innovation. Thank you once again and have a great evening ahead. Thank you.